We are live on YouTube. We are live on Rumble. Good afternoon. Hello, welcome to This Day in History, aka TDH. I'm Xander.
Golden Loon.
And UVRU. Today is, of course, Freya's Day, aka Friday, May 22nd, 2026. This show is about interesting and important events that happened today throughout the annals of recorded history. We have a 37-page document,
Whoa,
so a little high up there. Well, that, like, most of it is repeating things, like, right here.
Yeah.
These are both the same article from two different sources.
Okay.
But that takes up mass,
Okay.
which makes really we have like a 25-page document or less.
Except
like,
you have 37.
Yeah, but that's because of so many,
Okay,
repeating. So,
Yeah.
so don't let the numbers daunt you. But before we continue on, I have something really cool to show that I saw last night. So I just want to show. Let me smaller this really quick so that way you're on camera. But last night
You want to break the camera? Is that what you're saying?
when I usually begin researching writing and everything, like I have this for the next day, articles,
Yeah.
and I already did most of the work. Like when I started this year, I had to do all of this and everything. But like last year, I started the system that I've been employing this year for the most part and everything. Mm-hmm. But this is usually what I first see, and this is like the old one. I usually come in and do May 23rd, old, and do that. So now. And then this is all the stuff I have for today's show. All the pictures individually, like the thumbnail and everything. Now, last night I saw all of this in there.
Uh-huh.
This I think is when I first started the system that I've been using this entire year.
Wow.
Because this is a thumbnail for today's episode.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but this 1 year ago, I made this.
With the train crash?
Yeah. Well, no, like you see how it's a collage.
Okay.
But you see the background, the new one is purple, and it used to be white because that was before I realized you can change the background color. So this is the first time I did one of these collages. I believe.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. So throughout this show, I'm gonna try to match. Because these are all the pictures I have locked and loaded, ready to go to show you throughout the show today.
Yeah.
But this is from last year. So, this is like the first revolving restaurant. We're going to be talking about that. This is I almost chose this picture actually again this year.
That's a cool picture,
yeah, that's the first. It's still around purpose-built movie theater, but that's what I used last year. This is what I'm using this year. This is last year. So
I like
we're gonna
the color.
Yeah. It
really pops.
And then I just want to show a couple things. We have the toothpaste. We're going to be talking about the invention of the toothpaste tube, and this is what I got for this year. And this is that image I just showed you. That's from last year. So, I just found that cool.
When I was a kid, toothpaste came in a tube, obviously.
Yeah.
But it had like a metal cap on it, and it was a really small slit.
Slit?
Yeah, there was a slit in it. So you only got a little bit of toothpaste. That's all you need.
Yeah.
Now they've opened up the whole circle.
Well, because they want to make sure people get their poisoning from the fluoride and everything.
They want you to use more toothpaste.
Well, that too, but they want to make sure
that...
I
always had the circle, but then it had a small slit in it. Small meaning half the opening.
But I just wanted to bring this up and everything.
Yeah.
I even have the script from last year.
Wow.
This is from last year.
Wow.
So, but we're not going to be using the script from last year. We're going to be using, the document. But that's just cool. So, let's get into the show, shall we? 334 BC, the Macedonian army of Alexander the Great defeated Darius III of Persia in the Battle of Granicus. I remember that. Because
there?
Alexander the Great. I was named after him. So, 192, Dong Zhuo was assassinated by his adopted son, Lu Bu. Well, that's not good. 760, we have the 14th recorded perihelion passage of Halley's Comet. Do you remember what a perihelion is?
What?
The closest approach to the sun.
Oh, okay.
And then there's an anti-helion or whatever. That's not the word, but there is a word for it. The farthest it is from the sun, before it starts coming back. 1176, we have a murder attempt by the assassins, also known as the Hashashin, according to other source, when they attempted to kill Saladin near Aleppo. So Saladin was the Muslim guy. He conquered a lot of the Middle East and all that stuff that the Crusaders. Yeah. So during those times. Moving on up to 1370. Now this is weird. So Jews were expelled and massacred in Brussels, Belgium. That's all it says. So once again,
1370.
Yeah.
Wow.
But, like once again, like our leftist source, everything. Oh, look at the Jews. They're just out of the blue. They're just getting their teeth kicked in for no reason, discernibly.
That isn't the left talking.
Well, the left and the right, they're both owned and controlled by the same puppet masters. So, but from the other source, we have the Brussels massacre, an estimated 13 Jews. So this just sells Jews were expelled and massacred. Yeah. It sounds like in the hundreds, if not thousands. It's just 13. Okay. Which is still like
13 lives,
even one,
still,
but still. And the rest of the Jewish community were banished from Brussels, Belgium, for allegedly desecrating consecrated host. Oh. Now, time and time again, we get a lot of articles that doesn't really tell anything, but the ones that do say, they poisoned the wells, they caused, they spread the Black Death, they desecrated the consecrated host. Like how many of these, because this happens so much, just out of statistics, some of them have to be true. But if you were to believe, the system, every single time that anything happened against the Jews, it was just out of nowhere, and they're just pure victims. And I don't think every ass kicking falls out of the sky.
Of course not. But even this is a good example. Yeah. Now you've got to go beyond that. Why did they desecrate if they did?
Yes.
And if were they persecuted and that was their protest? You can go on and on and on.
But so many of these situations has happened. So like how many of them are false, and there has to be a few that are true. But if we are to believe what the system tells us, they are just completely devoid of sin. They are above it, above reproach.
I don't think so.
Well, no, that's what they try to teach. You're
the Jews try to teach.
No, the system. Like who? I don't know who controls the system.
Gentiles.
Whatever. No, we're the Gentiles.
I know.
So.
Hopefully we're in control.
Well, no, we're not. So. But my point being is if we are to believe what we're taught from history, then every single time anything happened out of the, to the Jews was just out of nowhere. Well, no, there's a push and a shove before action. That's all I'm saying is, why does this keep happening? That's what I want to know. But every time that question is asked by anybody, don't be anti-Semitic. Well, then you just shut down the entire conversation. What are you trying to hide?
You have an odd perspective, because that isn't the way I look at it.
Yeah, well. 1455, opening battle in England's 30-year War of the Roses. Richard of York took St. Albans, capturing King Henry VI. So he got the king. 1520, the massacre at the Festival of Todate took place during the fall of Tenochtitlan, the capital of the Mayans.
Way to pronounce.
Thank you. Resulting in turning the Aztecs against the Spanish. Yeah, Cortez and everything came in, Montezuma, all that jazz. 5 centuries ago, 1526, Pope Clement VII, France, Genoa, Venice, Florence, and Milan formed the Anti-French League of Cognac. So all those people just against the French. 1570, first Atlas Theatrum Orbis Terrarum, Theater of the World, published by Abraham Ortelius in Antwerp with 70 maps. So this is, one of the entire planet. So this is the Theatrum Orbis Terrarium. You can kind of see that in this old writing here, especially the Orbis part. But that's really cool. I just want to see if there it is, right there. Remember how I'm always going about the mud flood and Tartaria and everything?
Okay.
Well, do you? Yes or no?
I don't remember.
Well, I bring up things about the mud flood, Tartaria, resetting population, the history, rewriting and all that jazz. I bring it up, quite often, everything. But right there on the map it says Tartaria. Okay. History books don't even mention it. So we
Tartaria was what?
It was a country, the Tartarian Empire.
Okay.
If you look at a bunch of old photos, you see, I'm talking about, way back, original photos.
Why do you think we haven't ever heard of it?
Because they're trying to erase the Tartarian Empire from history, because apparently they had a whole bunch of technology that far exceeds our own, that the world system has. But the Rothschilds, it's a whole thing. It's a massive.
So did that technology die with the Tartarians?
No. The people who now rule the world have that technology, and that's why you have things like lithium-ion batteries that weren't really a thing until the late 90s, early 2000s. Well, they had them during World War II.
Yeah, I know.
Now granted the batteries were a lot bulkier and everything, but still, for 60 years, outside of the military-industrial complex, nobody even knew that technology existed.
So what happened to the Tartarians, what I'm asking?
They were wiped from history, is what I'm saying.
Why and how?
Well, like, this is part of the whole conspiracy. Like, the conspiracy goes that the Tartarian Empire was a world empire, and then like the Rothschilds, you know,
did they get conquered?
No, they got. I don't know. Like I don't know if they got taken over, you know, monetarily or what. But like, this is a whole conspiracy, you know, to look into. What I'm saying is they used to be the world power, and now they're not. And the current world power, not just the United States, but you know the shadow government, the system, whatever you want to call it. There's a billion names for this, but the powers that control the entire world either were the Tartarian Empire and they've gone into hiding, or they conquered them. But whatever the case, they're erased from history. You will never open a history book in the past 100 years and see the word Tartaria, because they are erasing them.
That I'll agree with.
Yeah.
I have not heard
but it's right there on a map from the 1500s.
I mean, we've heard of the Aztecs who disappeared. We don't know why, but we've heard of them.
Well, the Mayans, Incas, all those people.
All of them.
But I mean, what I'm saying is there was... you know, a Tartarian Empire, and now it's erased from history. Why? So, you know, like that is like, you know, why I'm all into conspiracies and everything. You know, because there's so much stuff that's just you know, it's not taught, it's hidden, it's behind a door. You know, it's difficult to find why. You know, like why do you have to jump through a hoop to get an education? That's weird. So, anyway, moving on up. 1629, Holy Roman Emperor Ferdinand II and Danish King Christian IV signed the treaty, a peace treaty of Lubeck, ending the Danish intervention in the 30 Years' War. So got him out of that. Moving on up to 1690, San Francisco de los Tejas mission, founded by the Spanish on San Pedro Creek, the first Spanish mission in East Texas. It was later relocated.
Yeah.
17...
It was along the Camino Real, right?
Texas, though. Not... No.
That was Texas? That was San Francisco.
No, San Francisco de los Tejas mission, founded by the Spanish on San Pedro Creek. First Spanish mission is East Texas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Later relocated, so they moved it.
Okay.
So... 1702, commission for the first census of Iceland was issued. First modern census carried out by Professor Annie Magnusson and Vice Chancellor Paul Violin from between now to the next year, 1702 to 1703. But what were the findings? How many people did they figure out lived there? 1720, a foundation stone laid for German Baroque palace, the Würzburg residence. It was completed in 1744. Look at that thing. That's a beautiful palace right there. Yeah. Now I want to just
amazing what they're building back then.
Yeah, and you know, once again, like, you know, like the whole thing, bring back up the whole Tartarian thing. You know, if you look at all the World's Fairs and everything, like, you'll remember how the palatial buildings that they have that are no longer there. People say that those were Tartarian structures and they were torn down for the same reasons why modern day they're taking down all these statues, so that way, out of sight, out of mind. After a few generations, it's gone, it's forgotten. And that's one of the reasons why they got rid of the Georgia Guidestones. Because they literally had written in stone, there shall be no more than 500 million world population. Then there was a terrorist attack. It blew up one of the 4 Guidestones, but instead of rebuilding it, they just destroyed the whole thing. Now that monument is gone, after a few generations, very much like how China did with the whole Tiananmen Square thing, you know, keep it suppressed, keep it blocked, and eventually nobody will remember it. That's what they're trying to do with Tartaria and everything. Like, you're coming full circle, using so many... examples. So
you're saying they're world power. I'm shocked that I haven't heard of them.
Well, like, yeah, well, you know, I have to bring you in on all that stuff. Like, I gotta sit you down one of these days and either watch with you or send you videos. But you gotta watch these videos. But there's so much stuff that's out there that we don't know, that's being kept from us. You know.
Well, let's move on today and see what we can expose.
Yeah. Let's see, 1761. Oh well, hold on a second. It's telling me to image search this really quick, so I'm gonna do that. Hold on a second. It's gonna be a little bit of a longer show today, but yeah, just you know, look at this palatial building.
Yeah, it's
magnificent. So yeah. What else do we got here? 1761. The first life insurance policy in North America was issued in Philadelphia. Life insurance. 1762, Sweden and Prussia signed the Treaty of Hamburg, reaffirming the status quo that existed before the 7 Years' War. 1762 as well, we have the Trevi Fountain, right here, was officially completed and inaugurated in Rome.
Yeah.
So yeah. And I actually have like a different image of the Trevi Fountain right here from last year.
Oh, yeah.
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 So, see, like, I'm just showing, you know, the various differences from last year to this year. and everything. Like, some of these are repeating, and some of these, yeah. What else do we got here? 1766, Istanbul earthquake with an estimated magnitude of 6.1 caused widespread extensive damage, followed by a significant tsunami.
Whoa.
So, and the loss of life in Istanbul and the Marmara region, according to other source. 1799, Napoleon made a statement in support of re-establishing Jerusalem for Jews. Huh. Yeah. 1803, the first U.S. public library opened in Connecticut, and I actually have an image of that right there. It says here, Peterborough Public Library 3. So, yeah, that's the name. So, I used this for last year, not for this year, because it's a very small image. I didn't even look it up, actually. So, that's pretty cool. Like, we're literally re-exploring our own history while exploring world history. This is awesome. It's so meta. I don't know why I didn't mark this one. Former U.S. Vice President Aaron Burr in 1807 was tried for treason in Richmond, Virginia, and he was acquitted. So we've spoken about this a couple of times. We also have Townsend Speakman was the first sold fruit-flavored carbonated drinks in Philadelphia. Okay. So, fruit soda. Sprite would be, a fruit soda.
Yeah.
So... we also have in 1809, on the second and last day of the Battle of Aspern-Essling near Vienna, Austria, Napoleon Bonaparte, was defeated in a major battle for the first time in his career and repelled by an enemy army for the first time in a decade. Wow. 1816, a mob in Littleport, Cambridgeshire, England, rioted over high unemployment and rising grain taxes, or costs, and the riots spread to Ely the next day. That would do it. Now, this is really cool. 1819, the SS Savannah set sail from Savannah Harbor in Georgia, United States, on a voyage that became a historic journey to become the first steam-propelled vessel, a steamship, to cross the Atlantic Ocean. So that's the picture I have from this year.
Steamship,
This is what I had last year. It's the same ship.
Yeah.
Well, you can see they had the side pedals, like how they have in the river ships and everything. But you can see they still have the sails. Because,
they got to have the sails.
Well, because they were transitioning. They still use wind power, but if there's no wind, then they turn on the engines. It wasn't until later, when it was more streamlined and efficient to run engines constantly, to validate the expense of the fuel rather than going to sails. And now we've come full circle. We've reinvented the sailing ships, solar-powered sail ship. They're literally designing ships to have, right there, like this. These are concepts. Cruise ships being powered by solar panel sails, rather than they're not wind, but there's, so we've gone back to masting ships. We've come full circle. This is the picture I was thinking of. Look at that. Isn't that ridiculous? To save on fuel costs.
Well, it's huge overall.
Yeah. But it's kind of ridiculous how we're going back.
Same thing though. They got to have other alternatives if there's no sun. So they still have some fuel with them, and they don't have sails obviously.
Yeah.
But they have engines down there to also be fueled by oil.
I just find it kind of ridiculous that we're going back in technology, kind of, if I'm making any sense. So.
Well, I don't think we're going back, because they're not going back to sails.
Well, I mean, it's still a big, broad thing. Anyway.
It looks like a sail, but it's not a sail.
Well, I just wanted, what was it?
What happens when they get into some of those storms? They could rip those things right out.
Yeah, it's a problem. Because sails you can lift. Those are solid plastic, so that is a good point. So I never thought of that. Moving on up, 2 centuries ago, 1826, HMS Beagle departed on her first voyage to survey Patagonia and Tierra del Fuego. You want to know why HMS Beagle is such an important ship?
Why?
Because that's the ship Darwin used.
What?
Darwin, Charles Darwin.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he used the Beagle.
Oh.
1840, the penal transporting of British convicts to the New South Wales colony was abolished. So, Australia there. Yeah. 1842, farmers Lester Howe and Henry Wetzel discovered... Wetzel's Pretzels, probably? Discovered Howe Caverns in New York State when they stumbled upon a large gaping hole in the ground. I'm going to image search this because, some of these caverns, I don't,
some of them are amazing.
This fucks with my eyes. This kind of hurts me to look at it because, just the way it is. I don't know. It's fucking with my eyes. But I can see how a lot of people can find this beautiful. But to me, this, it's hurting my vision. So I can't look at stuff like that for too long. 1847, the first wagon train departed Independence, Missouri for Oregon with between 700 to 1,000 migrants. Wow, so wagon train. Let's look that up. Whoops, click that. There we go. Just want to, everybody knows what wagon trains look like, but there's an image here. The first major wagon train set off from Independence, Missouri on the Oregon Trail. This journey marked a key moment in America's westward expansion, seeking new opportunities. So 700 to 1,000 people, that's a lot of wagons, But
that's a huge wagon train.
You needed the protection because, we were encroaching. Well, we already were encroaching. Now we're worsening encroaching. The whole manifest destiny thing of the natives.
Up the land.
Yeah. Well, no, so the white man needed the protection of all those masses to make the wagon circle. When they eventually got raided and everything. So
safety in numbers.
Yeah. 1846, the Associated Press was formed in New York City as a non-profit news cooperative.
Okay.
Yeah. 1848, slavery was abolished in Martinique. Excellent.
I don't know where Martinique is, but I've heard of it, but I don't know where it is.
Well, let's look it up. We have the technology. Martinique is not New York.
Europe.
I don't know. It says West Indies. Hold on a second. Hold on. Map. Martinique map. Let's see. Let's find it here. Map world. Let's see if this gives you. Here we go. Martinique. Okay, it's in the South Atlantic, over probably Caribbean area.
Way off.
Yeah. It's specifically that island right there. Yeah. So part of the Caribbean, I think.
Yeah.
So. 1849, Abraham Lincoln received a patent, the only U.S. president to do so, for a device to lift a boat over the shoals and obstructions. So I have here an image here. It's a thing you lift it up and over it's some rack or something. So it's to set the boat and then you over it. I think if I'm looking at it correctly. What's interesting is I have a picture of this from last year. So there it is. It's the same thing. If I see that.
Yeah.
It's cool that we have that from last year. So. What else do we got? 1856, violence in the U.S. Senate. South Carolina Representative Brooks used a cane on Massachusetts Senator Charles Sumner. So Congressman Preston Brooks of South Carolina severely beat Senator Charles Sumner of Massachusetts with a cane in the hall of the United States Senate for a speech Sumner had made regarding Southerners and slavery. Selling me an image. I don't know why.
He really did beat him.
Oh, yeah, no. I don't know why.
It wasn't a whack. He just really.
Well, I mean, look at this image. He's attacking him, dude.
Yeah.
But I don't know why. But I know it's an act of violence. But me being sick in the head, I find this image personally hilarious. It's just
Yeah.
And it's and then here we have this is what I used last year. So. But yeah, no, he got him. 1858, Confederación Granadina, now Colombia, formed. Okay. 1863, the War Department established Bureau of Colored Troops. So, if they want to fight for us, let them fight for us. Why not? 1863, during the American Civil War, Union forces began the siege of Port Hudson, which lasted 48 days, becoming the longest siege in U.S. military history. 1866, Oliver Winchester founded the Winchester Repeating Arms. So we're not there yet, but I have a
really popular gun, Winchester.
Yeah, this is a smaller image here. So, but you can see the mechanism for you fire it and you do this to reload instead of the bolt action. No, you do this.
Yeah,
with the
that's
thing.
What I said.
Yeah, well, it's a small image, but you can see it here.
Yeah.
You put all the rounds there, and then so that's a biggie. 1868, we have a train robbery at Marshfield, Indiana, by the Reno Brothers gang, who made off with $98,000. $98,000 in 1868. Let's see here. 1868. You do your what do you think it is?
1868.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say $480,000.
All right.
Maybe
$2,298,307.04. Yeah, you were doing well. Wow, what happened?
I don't know. I think too much.
You're getting confident in your abilities.
Now I'm trying to think it through instead of just estimating.
Just wing it. Come on.
Yeah. Do a quick estimate.
Yeah. 1871, the American Museum of Natural History opened within the Central Park Arsenal in New York City. Arsenal. That's a weird way to put it. 1872, Amnesty Act restored civil rights to Southerners except 500. Confederate sympathizers specifically. So other source says during the Reconstruction era, President Ulysses S. Grant signed the Amnesty Act into law, restoring full civil and political rights to all but about 500 Confederate sympathizers. Good.
Yeah. No, he's trying to bring everybody back into the fold.
Which, like, when you think about it, like, you know, he fought in the war. Ulysses S. Grant, he was a general and everything.
Yeah, he was a general.
And knowing how petty humans can be, he could have said, "Well, fuck you all," you know, like, because you know, those are his former enemies.
Yeah.
You know, so it takes a great man to you know, put personal vendettas, you know, behind themselves and do what's right for everybody. 1874, Verdi's Requiem was first performed at San Marco in Milan on the first anniversary of Manzoni's death. Okay. 1883, Cubs' Billy Sunday, first at bat, began 14 consecutive strikes out.
Yeah.
So, that's not good.
No, he struck out 14 straight times.
And it started as first at bat, so get him off the team.
Send him down.
Billy Sunday. Yeah, no, he's done. And then we have, you know, on the other side of the spectrum, we have 1 year later, a one-arm pitcher, Hugh Daly, fanned 13 hitters. So, wow, we go from horrible to great in 1 year.
The Angels just recently had a one-handed pitcher. He had an arm, but not a hand.
Oh.
So 2 arms, but 1 hand.
Oh, okay.
He had a nub.
Oh, okay.
He pitched for the Angels.
1892, Dr. Washington Sheffield invented the toothpaste tube.
There we go.
So yeah, so you know, it tastes good. You know, this is the tube from, what is this? What was this? Oh, this is later on, I think. This is something to do with skyscraper. If I didn't already pass it, I'm not sure. Yeah, hold on a second. Skyscraper. I'm in 1888. Oh yeah. That's actually the very next one. I did miss it. Leroy Buffington patented a system to build skyscrapers in 1888.
Okay.
Wow, I skipped over it. Wow. So, but I haven't marked.
Yeah.
So that's weird. But yeah, like he patented a system to here's that image from last year.
Yeah.
So he patented a system. That's awesome. I'm glad I looked that up. So, we also have 1893. Montreal Athletic Association defeated Ottawa Generals 2-1 in the first Cup game. 1894, U.S. inventor Augustine Sackett was granted a patent for Sackett board, the prototype for drywall, U.S. patent number 520,123. So drywall entering the ring of inventions and all that stuff.
That's weird. That far back, I had no idea.
Yeah, hang up some rock, you know, as Tyler Zed likes to say. 1897, the Blackwall Tunnel under the River Thames in London, England, officially opened. All right. 1900, U.S. inventor Edwin S. Voti received a patent for pneumatic piano player. So, like, you know, the auto piano player thingy or whatever.
Yeah.
So, that's pretty cool. In 1900 as well, Associated Press organized in New York City as a nonprofit news cooperative. So we spoke about that other one. That's pretty interesting. 1902, U.S. President Theodore Roosevelt signed a treaty with Mexico under which both countries agreed to submit a long-standing dispute over interest payments to the Court of Arbitration at The Hague. Hey, whatever. 1905, the Sultan of the Ottoman Empire, Abdulhamid II, established the Ullah Millet for the Aromanians of the empire. For this reason, the Aromanian National Day is sometimes celebrated on this date, although most do so on May 23rd instead, which is tomorrow, which is when this event was publicly announced. So, you know, happy Aromanian National Day. If you celebrate it today, tomorrow, whenever, you know, have a good one. 1906, a British garrison left Esquimalt on the Pacific coast after a military occupation that began in 1858. The last British soldiers stationed in Canada. So, you know, Canada is finally becoming more and more independent, although they still to a certain degree. You know, we've had this conversation before, but I've spoken with Canadians who live in Canada, you know, at least at the time, and they tell me they're not fully autonomous. They still, to some degree, answer to the British royalty. So, you know, we butt heads
answering is so strong, yes, but they're
not.
They still recognize the king or queen, whoever's in power, as their king or queen.
But if the king or queen says, "Oh, Canada, you gotta do this," Canada has to do that. Whereas Australia, they can tell them to go eat it. Australia is fully independent. Canada is not. That's the difference.
I don't know how much jurisdiction they have over them. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, if the crown says something, Canada has to do it. You know, they still answer to them to a certain degree. That's the limit of my knowledge. So, and I've spoken with Canadians multiple times that live there that have studied that, and I don't know what else to say. Let's see here. 1906, Wright brothers were granted for a patent for their flying machine, having applied for one 3 years prior. Patent number 821,393. 1 year later, Albert Trott took 2 hat tricks in an innings. Middlesex versus Somerset. Wow, 2 hat tricks in 1 inning. That's incredible. We also have Plaza Cinema opened in Ottawa, Kansas, the world's oldest purpose-built movie theater. So this image, we spoke about before. Oh, and this is the Wright brothers patent right there. I got that from last year. But yeah, here's the image from last year, and I almost picked that because of the color. But this was 2 different sides. Like you can see here, before they even had that marquee sticking out. That the triangle thing.
Yeah.
Over here it's still a flat front, but there's horse and buggy.
Yeah.
Still out there. So that's how old it's still standing today. So that's awesome.
It is. That's cool. I love stuff like that.
Yeah. What else do we got here? Why is this? That's weird.
your tunnel image.
Yeah. What else do we got here? In 1909, the first San Francisco fireboat, the David Shano, was launched. Yep. 1911, Braves pitcher Cliff Curtis lost his 23rd game in a row. Get him out of there. He's gone.
Send him with that batter.
Yeah. 1915, Lassen Peak erupted with a powerful force, the only mountain volcano other than Mount St. Helens to erupt in the continental U.S. during the 20th century.
Mount St. Helens,
Yep. We covered that the other day, actually, Mount St. Helens. And then the stirring of Krakatoa was yesterday, right? We spoke about that. That's the one that half the island got annihilated when it exploded.
Yeah.
So yeah. 1915, local train collided with a troop train, killing 226 people in Gretna, Scotland. Other source says 227 deaths and 246 injuries. So that sucks. We also have the Battle of Verdun in 1916. French troops assaulted Fort Douaumont but failed to recapture it after hours of dogged fighting. Battle of Verdun, one of the big ones. 1919, A.E. Douglas established the relative dates of 2 archaeological sites using ancient wood samples, marking a major step forward in the dating of archaeological sites. 1 century ago, 1926, 5'2", Eyes of Blue.
Yeah.
By Gene Austen, hit number 1. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, that goes way back.
Yeah. Actually, I'm going to look this up on YouTube and listen to that in my own time here really quick. So, move this over here.
Well, give us a taste of it.
Okay. Let's see here. That just says ukulele. Hold on a second.
No, it's not that big a deal if it's not right there.
This is not telling me anything. Hold on a second. 5'2", Eyes of Blue by Gene Austen. Let me just look this up rather than the entire article. See if this gives me anything. Here we go. So yeah, let's play the first couple of chords here, if it'll load. It doesn't appear to be loading. So I'm just gonna hold off to that for a little bit. Let it load. 1926, Chiang Kai-shek replaced the communists in Kuomintang, China. So all right. No, he tried, but unfortunately didn't succeed. 27, an 8.3 Nanshan earthquake struck Changchun, China, with over 40,900 deaths. Wow. Now, other source says 200,000 deaths.
Whoa.
In one of the world's most destructive earthquakes.
Whoa.
Now, we have a massive discrepancy.
That's huge.
So I gotta figure that out.
A ballpark.
I know. And let's play this here.
Oh, I have heard that.
Yeah, that is an old song.
I just saw a maniac, wild and...
All right, that's enough of that. We'll listen to that later on our own time. And you know what? I'm going to add this to the underbar section. Why not? So 5'2", Eyes of Blue. So yeah, 5'2", Eyes of Blue. So if anybody wants to listen to this will be in the underbar description section below. After the live stream, of course. So moving on up, what else do we got here? 1927, Dodgers defeated Phillies 20-4. That's big number there. 1930, Yankees future Baseball Hall of Fame first baseman Lou Gehrig became the first to hit 3 home runs 3 times as New York outscored Philadelphia A's 20-13. Teams combined for a then record of 10 homers. Dang. 31. George N. introduced genuine Diamondback rattlesnake with supreme sauce in a can, so a consumable. By its Florida Projects Corporation, the popular item ceased production in 1944 after when the owner died, a victim of one snake's revenge. Oh, so it bit him.
Oh, geez.
So, wow. That's crazy. But yeah, you actually could buy, like, rattlesnake with supreme sauce. So, like how they do in the South, they eat snakes and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like they had that one scene.
They taste like chicken.
Yeah. Well, like that one scene from Billy no, not Billy Madison. The Water Boy.
Oh.
Yeah, like when they ate snake that one time. So, 33. First modern sighting of the Loch Ness Monster by Audley and John McKay saw, quote, something resembling a whale, in quotes. Oh, I'm way off here, right there. There we go. We also have the World Trade Day / National Maritime Day was first celebrated, so happy day to that. 36, Aer Lingus, or Aerolingus, was incorporated as the national airline of the Republic of Ireland. 38, Dodgers announced contracts to install lights at Ebbets Field.
Ooh.
39, Germany's Adolf Hitler and Italy's Benito Mussolini signed the Pact of Steel, formalizing the 1936 alliance known as the Rome-Berlin Axis. And did I have something? Yeah, here we go. Newspaper, Axis powers signed 10-year alliance to remake Europe. So that's from last year. A train. Oh, that's from the two trains colliding.
Yeah.
The troop train. Okay, I was wondering. Like, I don't remember. I didn't remember like a train article, but yeah, there was. So that's from last year. So, and I just want to bring up, the differences. Today's title is Fruit Sodas, Toothpaste Tube, and more. Oh, there was supposed to be more than that. Oh well. Last year was Abraham Lincoln Patent Toothpaste Tube, Pac-Man, and more. You know what? I'm gonna add Pac-Man into this just because I can. Well, no, I'll add one later. But yeah, it's pretty cool looking back and seeing our own history of doing this show.
Yeah.
And I'm beside myself with that.
You are.
So,
You're loving it.
Yeah. 1940, Dutch Premier de Geer began working with the Nazis. That's not good. 41, British troops attacked Baghdad. 41 as well. During the Anglo-Iraq War, British troops took Fallujah. 42, Mexico declared war on Nazi Germany and Japan, entering the Second World War on the side of the Allies. Thank you, Mexico. One of the one of the good things that they've done. 42, the Steelworkers Organizing Committee disbanded, and a new trade union, the United Steelworkers, was formed. Kind of sounds
I
like
think they have that today, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah. Well, that reminds me of the whole what was it? A LifeLog Facebook thing. Like, remember I showed that to you? The day LifeLog, ceased to exist was the same exact day, like not even, a year prior or whatever, but on the same day that Facebook launched.
Yeah.
It just, like, look into that out there. Anybody, if you're, into conspiracy and all that stuff, the whole LifeLog Facebook thing. Really interesting read right there. So, what else do we got here? 1943, the Royal Air Force scattered their first copies of the Flying Hollander. There has to be some kind of propaganda.
I guess so.
Yeah. We also have Joseph Stalin disbanded the Comintern. We covered that a few days ago, actually. 45, NSB Führer Ross van Tonningen made failed self-deletion attempt. Loons time! 1946, Yankees turned triple play and defeated Tigers 5-3. We also have the first U.S. rocket, WAC Corporal, to reach edge of space, fired from White Sands Missile Range, New Mexico. And I have a picture of that from last year. Oh, yeah. What else do we got here? 1947, to minimize that. We have the Truman Doctrine went into effect, aiding Turkey and Greece. So, all right. We also have the first U.S. ballistic missile was fired. Didn't we already cover that? 1946 to 1947, we have a discrepancy here. So, 48, Finnish President J.K. Paasikivi was released Ujolino from his duties as Interior Minister in 1948 after the Finnish Parliament adopted a motion of censure of Lieno with connection to his illegal handing over of 19 people to the Soviet Union in 1945. That was wordy right there. 49, Brooklyn Dodgers Don Newcomb in first MLB start shut out Cincinnati on 5 hits to win 3-0. Yeah. Nice. 53, Yankee Irv Noren hit into a triple play. Yanks defeated Washington 12-4. Oh, nice. 1954, Robert Zimmerman, a.k.a. Bob Dylan, was bar mitzvah.
Oh.
I didn't know that he had a different name.
Yeah.
So this was when he was bar mitzvah, so he got a different name. So Bob Dylan. So he used to be known as Robert Zimmerman.
I don't think bar mitzvah doesn't mean you change your name.
Well, Like,
I know plenty of people that had a bar mitzvah and their name was the same. So he changed it to Bob Dylan
yeah.
as a
Well,
artist.
like how what's his face?
Zimmerman. It wasn't going to cut it for him.
No,
and
it
he
wouldn't.
used Bob instead of Robert.
Yeah.
He just
Okay.
changed his last name.
Yeah. It's kind of like Cassius Clay and.
Well, he
Yeah.
did that for religious reasons.
Yeah. Well,
Muhammad Ali.
Well, no, but that was a Muslim thing. This is a Jewish thing. I'm not sure if he changed his name because of this, but like
I think he did it as an artist.
Anyway, 1955, the oldest man to drive in the Grand Prix at the age of 55 finished sixth. That's not bad.
Yeah, pretty good.
56, the Bob Hope Show last aired on NBC TV.
Oh.
57, Red Sox set American League record by smashing 4 home runs in 6 inning and 11-0 win. Dang. 57, South Africa's government approved of racial separation in universities. Yeah, apartheid. 1 year later, influential modernist skyscraper, the Seagram Building, designed by Mies van der Rohe, officially opened in Manhattan, New York. I seem to remember the name, the Seagram Building. Okay, basic looking building. So, but that's it right there. 1958 as well. The riots in Ceylon became a watershed in the race relations of various ethnic communities of Sri Lanka. The total deaths were estimated at 300, mostly Tamils. 59, Benjamin O. Davis Jr. became the first black major general in U.S. Air Force. Excellent. 1960, a magnitude 9.4 to 9.6 earthquake struck near the city of Valdivia in Chile, the strongest ever recorded, causing multiple tsunamis and killing between 1,000 to 7,000 people.
An earthquake in the 9s, that's just huge.
Yeah. Now hold on a second. Tsunami. Oh, okay. Yeah. So we also have from another source somewhere here a tsunami generated by a magnitude 9.9 to 9.6 earthquake. No, hold on. This is something else. It's the same thing, but something else. Earthquake in Chile struck Hilo, Hawaii at 1:04 a.m., severely damaging virtually all coastal towns between the 37th and 44th parallels. So we had an earthquake, and this is
Caused by that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Hawaii is getting hit. That's crazy. 61, Mother-in-Law single by Ernie K. Doe hit #1, written and produced by pianist Alan Toussaint. Okay. We also have the first revolving restaurant, the Top of the Needle in Seattle, open from last year. There's a picture of the interior and everything. I did not use an image of that for this year. But yeah, like it's still really cool to look back at your own thing,
Yeah.
62, Major Robert A. Rushworth of USAF took the X-15 to 30,600 meters. They have a lot of these articles about the X-15. I sprinkle them in every now and then just to remind people about our technological achievements of the past. Netherlands telephone network became completely automated on this date, 1962 as well. And we have the New York Yankees outfielder Roger Maris walked 5 times, recorded 4 intentionally in a 9-inning game. 63, Greek Parliament leader Lamberdax was injured. He was clubbed over the head, causing his death 5 days later. Yeah, primary source didn't even say that. Ultimately, to die of his injuries. So this is the second time. So we covered that caning earlier.
Yeah.
And then this guy on the other side of the world on the same date many years later, but he gets hit by something. Now, I don't think that the first guy from the Civil War era got killed by the caning, but this guy died 5 days later. So that's kind of weird, though. History repeated itself. Yeah. 63, Mickey Mantle hit a ball off Yankee Stadium's facade.
Yeah.
We also have, 1 year later, LBJ presented Great Society. That's the first thing I think of is, Emperor Palpatine going on like, this unified galactic society, we are becoming the Empire. Remember that whole speech during Episode 3? So, President Lyndon B. Johnson presented his vision for the Great Society, calling for an end to poverty and racial injustice and outlining broad reforms in education, healthcare, civil rights, and the environment. That sounds like socialism.
Yeah.
Ending poverty and all stuff. That sounds like a pathway to redistributing wealth and everything. Palpatine Society. Let's see if I can find it. Here we go. This is literally the what I thought of about the whole Great Society. Or he just says society. I guess it was really, really low. Oh, here we go. Is this a louder version? Society. No, yeah, that's what I think of. Anyway, 1965, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious from the film Mary Poppin hit number 66. I think it's Poppins, not Poppin. Is it Mary Poppin or is it Mary Poppins?
I've always called it Mary Poppin.
Mary Poppin. Let's look this up here. Mary Poppin. Nope, Poppins. Mary Poppins.
I didn't know that.
It was. I always thought it was.
Okay, good for you.
Yeah. I was confused when I first saw that. I'm like, that has to be a typo. 1967, Egyptian President Nasser closed the Straits of Tiran to Israeli shipping.
Yeah.
We covered that the other day. Although that wasn't that. That was the Suez Canal they closed to Israel. So this is something else. 67, a fire at the El Innovation department store killed 322 people in Brussels, Belgium. So the Il Innovation department store in Brussels, Belgium burnt down, resulting in 323 dead or missing and 150 injured, the most devastating fire in Belgian history. Let's hope they never break that record. We also have 68, Pittsburgh Pirates future baseball Hall of Fame outfielder Willie Stargell hit 3 home runs, a double and a single in a 13-6 rout of the Chicago Cubs at Wrigley Field. Wow. Yeah. They got their head kicked in their own home.
Yeah, Willie Stargell.
Yeah. 1969, the nuclear-powered submarine USS Scorpion sunk with 99 men aboard, 400 nautical miles or 740 kilometers southwest of the Azores. We covered this yesterday.
Yeah, but they didn't find him for how many years? Something.
Or, huh?
Was that maybe something else?
Oh, that was yesterday. Might have said it yesterday. I don't remember what it said yesterday. 1970, Arab terrorists killed 9 children and 3 adults on a school bus. What the hell? You don't hear of Jews doing this shit. You don't hear of Christians. It's always the Islams doing this horrible shit. You know, like why do we put up with them on a world stage? Yeah. 1970, Mel Stoudemire set record by walking 11, but won 2-0. Okay. 72, Ceylon became a republic of Sri Lanka as its constitution was ratified. Okay. 73, over 400 women in Derry, Northern Ireland, attacked the offices of official Sinn Féin in Derry, North Ireland, following the shooting of William Best, a young British soldier on leave, by the official Irish Republican Army. We covered that guy yesterday getting killed. Now this is the response: 400 women attacking them, and all that stuff. You know, you go girls. Like that's what these new wave feminists need to do. They need to stop going and complaining and squawking. They need to actively, take action. 72, Ton Sijmermans became the world checkers champion. If anything, I would want to be a checkers champion. Like, I don't care about, football, baseball, bowling, chess. But checkers, I actually like checkers. And legitimately, I would honestly enjoy going into a checkers tournament. That sounds interesting. I think I'd do halfway decent. We also have U.S. President Richard I am not a corrupt Nixon began his visit to Moscow. Now this is really interesting. 1 year exactly later, in 1973, President Nixon confessed his role in the Watergate cover-up. That's a little weird. He went to Russia, and then 1 year later, he's getting caught with his hand in the pocket of being corruption. So it has to have been the Ruskies, who screwed him up. So, but then again, he was born in California, so 74, Ruffian began her racing career as a filly and died 14 months later. Oh, that's terrible. 1977, final European scheduled run of the Orient Express after 94 years. Yeah, we've spoken about that.
Yeah.
I'm going to look this up. Is the Orient Express back? Because I remember it came back a little bit. Okay, here we go. Orient Express. Legendary trade. Yada, yada, yada. 2027. Oh, yeah, okay, so this is coming up. So in 2027, La Orient Express will invite travelers to relive the legend aboard 17 original Orient Express cars dating back to the 1920s and 30s.
Okay.
Adorned with exceptional decor, a set of cars formerly known as the Nostalgia Istanbul Orient Express.
So they're bringing it back.
Well,
it's not back yet.
No, they brought it back before, and I think they bring it back every few years or something. I'm not sure.
It's 20. I would say 30 if that would be a specific year. 27's a nothing thing.
Yeah. Well, like I know that it came back like in 2010.
Oh, wait a minute. It ended in 77? So maybe every 10 years they do it.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Because I know that.
I'm trying to get a connection here.
Because like.
So 77
Well.
would be, 27.
Yeah.
Would be what, 50 years?
Yeah. Well, this is what I'm saying. Like, completely out of the history stuff. I was watching a video about the Orient Express, randomly, and I was just like, oh, is it still around? And I looked it up, and I saw it had come back in like 2010 or something, and
Probably
then
2017 or
probably
27.
whenever it was, it had come back and then it went away again. So I think they're doing it like every now and then, or maybe every 10 years, as you're saying.
Yeah.
Maybe. I would love to go on this train.
Wouldn't it be cool?
Yes.
See if we can make it by 27.
Well, I'm never going to go to Europe anyway, so it's not going to happen. 1980, video game Pac-Man, created by Toru Iwatani, was first released in Japan. I'm going to put Pac-Man in today's title, so I'm going to edit that. Pac-Man and more. So yeah, title's going to be changed. So yeah, good old Pac-Man. 1983, Toronto Blue Jay Cliff Johnson hit a record 18th pinch hit home run. 85, to A View to Kill, 14th James Bond film, last by star Roger Moore, also starring Grace Jones and Christopher Walken, premiered in San Francisco. Christopher Walken was in a James Bond film?
Maybe so.
Huh.
I'm trying to think of who he is.
Hold on a second. A View to Kill.
Is that him right there?
Well, on the right, yeah, but that's not from the time.
No, I know,
So,
but now I know who he was.
View to Kill, Christopher. No, he's that guy who he really talks weird like this.
Yeah. Now
So,
I know who he is.
Yeah. Okay, that's him right there.
Yeah.
I do not recognize him at all.
Oh, I recognize him.
I
right
do
off
not.
That.
Like everything's different. I mean, like he's younger. I recognize old Christopher Walken, not
done-
young. Okay, I can kind of see him.
With his hair.
I can kind of see it here with his
hair
face.
was real weird.
Yeah, well, it's also blonde. He's not normally blonde.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Huh. So he must have been playing the villain or something.
Most likely.
Yeah. What else do we got here? 1985, MLB Cincinnati Reds Pete Rose 2,108th run past Hank Aaron as National League run scoring leader. All right. We also have 1985, U.S. sailor Michael L. Walker was arrested for spying for the USSR. Ooh. 86, U.S. singer and actress Cher called David Letterman an asshole as a guest on his late night TV program NBC.
Man.
Huh.
You're a guest and you call him an asshole. Oh.
Wow. Well.
Talk about no class.
Yeah, well. Ayo's time, 1987. This is not a good article. 30 people were killed in a Texas tornado.
Oh.
Gee. But we also have Canadian Rick Hansen completed his Man in Motion World Tour in a wheelchair at Vancouver's British Columbia Place Stadium, raising money for spinal cord research. Okay.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah. Hashimapura massacre occurred in Meerut, India. And first ever Rugby World Cup kicked off with New Zealand playing Italy at Eden Park in Auckland, New Zealand. On rugby. 1990, Andre Dawson received a record 5 intentional walks in the game. That does not sound good. 1990, Deion Sanders became involved in a dispute with Chicago White Sox catcher Carlton Fisk, one of the most infamous incidents of Sanders' baseball career. Do you want to elaborate on that?
Well,
because I don't have a clue.
About what?
About this thing.
Yeah.
What was this dispute? What is this?
I don't know what the dispute is.
Okay. I was just hoping that you know more.
Deion Sanders is more known for a football player, but he did play baseball.
Okay.
Apparently, I didn't even realize he did.
1990 as well, Microsoft released Windows 3.0. Okay. North and South Yemen were united, merging to create the Republic of Yemen. Oman, Yaman. So, 91, NFL owners agreed to add 2 teams in 94. Do you happen to know off the top of your head who they were?
NFL, that would be 94.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. You know what? I can look it up. 94 NFL, 2 new teams, 1994
That'd be
NFL.
Florida's one of them, I think.
Let's see here.
Oh, NFL. No, I'm thinking the wrong thing entirely. I'm thinking of the...
It was just telling me that.
Major League Baseball. Okay.
Yeah, well, that's MLB.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if anybody can let us know in the comment section, that'd be great. We got to keep on moving with the show. Do we have any comments? Nope, we do not. What else we got here? California Angels were involved in a bus crash in New Jersey
Ooh.
in 1992. Yikes. We also have Johnny Carson's final appearance as host of The Tonight Show.
Yeah.
And Bosnia and Herzegovina, Croatia, and Slovenia joined the United Nations.
Oh.
93, the new WKRP in Cincinnati, an ensemble TV sitcom sequel created by Hugh Wilson and set in a struggling radio station, concluded syndicated run. Didn't we talk about that yesterday?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. Oh. 94, Toronto NBA franchise unveiled Raptors name and logo. All right, so the old Raptors.
Toronto Raptors.
Yep. We also have a worldwide trade embargo against Haiti went into effect to punish its military rulers for not reinstalling the country's ousted elected leader, Jean-Bertrand Aristide. Why do we involve ourselves with Haiti? You know, that they're not good. You know, they come here and they fuck everything up. So, I mean, like, when are we gonna learn pattern recognition?
Yeah.
I mentioned that, I think several times this episode already. These certain groups of people keep doing certain things, and for whatever reason, we keep working with them. And what's the definition of insanity?
Yeah.
We need to stop working with these people. 96, the Burmese military regime jailed 71% supporters of Aung San Suu Kyi in a bid to block a pro-democracy meeting.
Yikes.
Ugh, that's terrible. 97, Kelly Flynn, U.S. Air Force's first female bomber pilot, was certified for combat, accepting a general discharge in order to avoid a court-martial. Oh, what did she do?
Wow.
What happened? Wow.
First woman that she got
I
busted.
mean, this is what I keep saying. So many of, if you actually look at, the first woman there, the first woman mayor here, the first woman, president there, the first, woman in charge of this building. So many of these, firsts, they do horrible jobs. And you
don't know if she did a horrible job or she did a horrible thing.
Well, you don't do good and end up court-martialed. Okay, so she fucked up somewhere.
Yeah,
what
but
I'm
it
saying
could be one
is,
particular incident.
yeah, what I'm saying is they don't leave good track records for other women trying to break into these industries. So.
I don't know about that.
98, we have the Lewinsky scandal.
Yeah.
A federal judge ruled that the United States Secret Service agents can be compelled to testify before a grand jury concerning the scandal involving President Bill Clinton. Yeah. In the year 2000, in Sri Lanka, over 150 Tamil rebels were killed over 2 days of fighting for control in Jaffna. 2002, U.S. Civil Rights Movement, a jury in Birmingham, Alabama, convicted former Ku Klux Klan member Bobby Frank Cherry of the 1963 murders of 4 girls in the bombing of the 16th Street Baptist Church bombing. This guy needs to be buried under the church, or under the jail, not church. I had church on the mind because it was church bombing. No, they did bury him under the prison. 2002 as well, the remains of missing Chandra Levy were found in Rock Creek Park, Washington, D.C.
Never heard of
Chandra Levy. Is that like a person or a levy? Oh, okay, so her. It's telling me to look this up. So her remains were found. Rest in peace. Peace, not peace. Wow, whoa. What is wrong with my brain? Yeah. Well, the first thing I thought of, rest in peace, rest in pieces, remains.
Oh.
I'm just like, what the fuck is wrong with my brain? Like, why do I do that? 2003, in Fort Worth, Texas, Annika Sorenstam became the first woman to play the PGA Tour in 58 years. Wow. Why is this here? It's weird. 2004, 57th Cannes Film Festival, Fahrenheit 9/11, directed by Michael Moore, won the Palme d'Or, first documentary to win. All right. 2004 as well, U.S. town of Hallam, Nebraska was wiped out by a powerful F4 tornado that broke a width record at an astounding 2.5 miles long.
Oh, wow.
And also killed 1 local resident. Wow. Only 1 guy.
That's amazing.
Wow. 2.5 mile wide tornado.
Yeah.
2.5 miles.
Yeah.
Now, to put that into perspective, a Star Destroyer from Star Wars is roughly 1 mile long. Now imagine 2.5 Star Destroyers. That's a fucking tornado.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
Spinning like crazy.
Yeah. 2006, results from the Montenegrin independence referendum. They were announced. 55.4% of voters voted to become independent from Serbia and Montenegro Union. We covered that yesterday. 2010, Polish astronomer Nicolaus Copernicus' remains are reburied in Fromberg Cathedral, Poland, after a 200-year search for his tomb.
Eesh.
Well, why not leave him in his tomb?
Yeah.
We also have Air India Express Flight 812, a Boeing 737, crashed over a cliff upon landing at Malagore, India, killing 158 of 166 people on board, becoming the deadliest crash involving a Boeing 737 until the crash of Lion Air Flight 610. Over a cliff. Did they build an airport on a cliff? What the hell? Like, wow. Like, look at that. So, that's a cliff.
Wow.
That's a horrifying image right there. So, what else do we got? 2010, Inter Milan defeated Bayern Munich 2-0 in the UEFA Champions League final in Madrid, Spain, to become the first and so far only Indian team to win the historic treble, Serie A, Coppa Italia, and Champions League. So all three of them. So excellent. 2011, an EF5 tornado struck the U.S. city of Joplin, Missouri, killing at least 158 people and wreaking wreaking, look at that number, $2,800,000,000 in damages. The single deadliest tornado in U.S. since modern record began in 1950. But other source says it's the 7th deadliest tornado in U.S. history. So, but still, look at that number.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap, dude. 2012, SpaceX COTS Demo Flight 2 launched a Dragon capsule on a Falcon 9 rocket and the first commercial flight to the International Space Station. So testing it out. We also have Tokyo Skytree open to the public. It is the tallest tower in the world. It's 634 meters and the second tallest man-made structure on Earth after the Burj Khalifa, 829.8 meters. Let's take an image search of this. There's a difference between a structure, a building, a tower. Okay, so this. Look at this. That's huge.
Good grief.
Like, those are buildings down there.
Yeah.
That is enormous. It almost looks like, you're taking one toy and merging it with, like, a whole different type of toy.
Yeah.
Like a Duplo into a Lego or something. 2013, British Army Fusilier Lee Rigby was murdered near the Royal Artillery Barracks in Woolwich, southeast London, by two Islamic extremist terrorists, Michael Abeloso and Michael Abeloloe. Once again, you don't see Christians or Jews doing shit like that. There's always one type of people. 2014, Royal Thai Armed Forces, led by General Prayut Chan-o-cha, staged a coup in Thailand, suspending the kingdom's constitution and taking control of the government, the 12th since the country's first coup in 1932. Wow, Thailand is just unstable as holy fuck. An explosion occurred in Ürümqi, capital of China's far western Xinjiang region, resulting in at least 43 deaths and 91 injuries. 2015, Ireland became the first country in the world to legalize same-sex marriage by popular vote.
Yeah.
All right. 2015, Pakistan became the first test-playing... hold on a second. I was reading two things at once. Pakistan began the first test-playing nation cricket tour of Zimbabwe since 2009. So 6 years. Well, I'm not doing that to torture you. So
I know.
2016, we'll talk about that later. Independent Alexander Van der Berlin defeated Freedom Party's Norbert Hofer by just 31,000 votes to become president in Australian elections. Or Austrian. Not Australian, Austrian. So 31,000 votes. You really skimmed by there. 2016, the Tradition Senior Men's Golf Greystone Golf and Country Club, Germany's Burkhard Langer won his 6th of what will become 13 championships tour majors by 6 strokes from Olsen Browdy. So ultimately, 13. This was his 6th. So he's on his way. That's incredible. We also have U.S. President Barack Hussein Obama arrived in Vietnam for a 3D tour. No, Vietnam. No, they misspelled it last year. 2017, Japanese researchers from the University of Yamanashi reported birth of mice from freeze-dried sperm stored on the International Space Station. And they're doing all that shit to mice, everything. They're going to be doing it to us. We also have South Africa's Western Cape province declared a drought disaster, the worst for 113 years. That's major. Would you mind turning on that light, please? 2017, we have a suicide bombing at Manchester Arena, England, after Ariana Grande concert killed 22 and injured 59. So this happened after her concert, but there were still concert goers. So yeah, and she doesn't feel guilty about it. I don't think. I saw a video and like she's just like, well, blah blah blah, whatever, So
Well, there's a difference between being upset or whatever and feeling guilty about it. You can't feel guilty about it because you have a concert.
No, and she's not upset either. She doesn't care. It might not be her.
I have no idea.
But there have been several horrible things lately. Like there is something with what's his name, Travis Scott or something. Like there's been 2 or 3 instances of horrible things happening at concerts. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure if I was watching Ariana Grande, but I was watching some video.
Okay.
And they asked him the question blah blah, do you feel bad for the people who died at your concert? Fuck them, I don't care. Wow. These people, they are so callous, they don't care. So 2017, United States President Donald Trump visited the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem and became the first sitting U.S. president to visit the Western Wall. Yeah, well, he's whipped by the powers that be. 2018, Australian court found Archbishop of Adelaide, Philip Wilson, guilty of covering up sexual abuse in 1970. Most senior Catholic priest to be convicted. Yeah. 2018, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg, was questioned by members of the European Parliament in Brussels in wake of its security scandal. Dude, only Zuckerberg could look less realistic than the wax figure of himself. You remember that?
I don't remember.
Yeah, let me pull this up. This is ridiculous. Mark Zuckerberg wax figure. They have a side by side of the real Mark next to the wax Mark.
I do remember something
with
about
a
it.
real guy. Hold on a second. So here's the wax figure, right there.
Okay.
Okay, and here's the picture. Look at that. How does he look more like Data from Star Trek?
Yeah.
How does he look less human than this wax figure? The guy's obviously some lizard person or something. 2018, Stacey Abrams was the first black woman to be nominated as U.S. state governor for Georgia. Cool. What are you going for?
Well, I don't like her political views.
Well then maybe she's DEI. So, 2019, protests broke out in Jakarta, Indonesia, against the re-election of President Joko Widodo, killing 6 people and injuring 200. Yeah, we were talking about this guy yesterday. 2019, UN General Assembly voted for a motion condemning UK occupation of the Chagos Islands in the Indian Ocean and for them to reunite with nearby Mauritius. Oh, we're going to condemn you. Is that what you're going to do? Are you going to do anything else? No, we're just going to shake your fist and give you a sternly written letter. Yeah, because that gets results. Freaking pussies. 2019 as well, Washington State became the first U.S. state to legalize composting human bodies. We spoke about that yesterday. That's horrifying. Yeah. 2020, China unveiled new national security legislation against Hong Kong at its annual legislative session. Yeah. We also have Pakistan International Airlines flight crashed near Jinnah International Airport in Karachi, killing 97 with just 2 survivors. So that was their flight 8303 crashed in model colony near Jinnah International Airport in Karachi, Pakistan, killing 98 people. So we have a 97-98 discrepancy here. Yeah. 2021, 30-year-old Scottish light welterweight boxer Josh Taylor became Britain's first undisputed world champion in the 4-belt era by beating Jose Ramirez by unanimous decision in Las Vegas. Mount Nyiragongo, trying to find it here, this one, erupted in the Democratic Republic of Congo, sending rivers of lava towards the nearby city of Goma, prompting evacuations. Run! Liquid rock is coming here! Get the fuck out of the way!
Yeah.
Jeez. We also have hypothermia killed 21 runners in the 100-kilometer or 60-mile Gansu ultramarathon disaster in China. Yeah, China tried to bury that because they did not put up appropriate things in their checkpoints. They didn't have security. They didn't have water, shelter.
But hypothermia?
Yeah. Well, they had them going through this very arid, bumfuck Egypt area of the desert or whatever, but they had no checkpoints set up there to keep the people warm and everything. So China, I have a feeling China did that intentionally just to kill a bunch of athletes. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them. China is actively conducting several genocides. You think they give a fiddler's fuck about a few athletes?
They give a care of what that makes them look like.
They don't care, Dad.
Image is everything to them.
Everybody hates China, but they only work with them because they're the cheapest. So, 2022 report released on sexual abuse in U.S. Southern Baptist Convention, the country's largest Protestant denomination, detailed 20 years of suppressing many allegations. Yikes. 2023 New Deal cutting water usage of the Colorado River, agreed by California, Arizona, and Nevada, aims to conserve 3 million acre-feet of water by 2026.
It's getting real low.
Yeah. We also have 2023 U.S. and Papua New Guinea bilateral defense cooperation agreement was signed by Secretary of State Anthony Blinken and Prime Minister James Marape in Port Moresby as U.S. and China strive for influence in the region. And last but not least, 2 years ago, 2024, Ireland, Norway, and Spain announced they will formally recognize a Palestinian state on May 28th, joining 9 other European countries. Kind of funny how Palestine was there, and then Israel was shoehorned in, and then nobody recognized Palestine anymore. I hate that. I absolutely hate it. You know? So
Well,
the injustice to the Palestinians is so ridiculous.
Palestinians themselves, at least the government of them at a time, rejected a two-state solution. Absolutely rejected it.
Yeah.
So it's just not European countries.
Yeah.
Palestine itself.
Well, Palestine was there first. So, anyway, that shall conclude the show. Once again, please check the other part of the description below for any links that you may find interesting, including but not limited to all things Omni Coalition, and this one link that, this one link that we collected throughout. This show will be down there after the live stream. A lot of history has and continues to be made on a daily basis. We covered, this entire 37-page document in an hour and change. So please, I implore you, continue your path of self-education. For your dose of Past Events Daily, we stream every day at 5 p.m. Pacific Time, 6 Mountain, 7 Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, respectively. For all of you and all of us, I'm Mayo Xander.
Golden Loon.
And UVRU, thank you so much for coming in and watching. And until you catch us next time, whenever that is, wherever that is, don't forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 thumbs, and subscribe. Toodles!
All right.